Hi, everybody. I'm Taryn, and the last time I was giving a presentation on teen dating and talking about the warning signs as well as what is a healthy relationship, um, and then a little bit on a safety plan. So I would advise to review that video for those of you who want to just get the gist of things. And this time I thought it would be nice if we looked a little bit at a safety plan and also just kind of geared it to our own children and what is realistic and what is maybe specific to being in a pandemic. So this is from a website that I recommended last time. It's called Breakthecycleorg. And it just has all the information that I used for the first video. And it's really very geared towards teenagers, I think. There are many other sites, but I thought if we just really got into one and started to talk about these ideas. So the safety plan is basically something that you plan out with your teenager, or they can do it themselves. And there are different models online that one could follow. So this one is from breakthecycle.org, and it's basically a guide that helps you to lower your risk from being abused. It's really a way to be proactive, to think about all the different variables that could be on your radar, that might not be on your radar. So I'll read a little bit just so that Mana will have the information. A good safety plan helps you think through lifestyle changes that will help keep you as safe as possible on campus, in the dorms, and other places that you go on a daily basis. Why do I need a safety plan? Everyone deserves a relationship that is healthy, safe, and supportive. If you are in a relationship that's hurting you, it's important for you to know that the abuse is not your fault. It is also important for you to start thinking of ways to keep yourself safe from the abuse, whether you decide to end the relationship or not. While you can't control your partner's abusive behavior, you can take action to keep yourself as safe as possible. And so this is a form that you can make your own form, obviously. So this could be a model, and then you can decide what is important for you. So why don't we begin? My safety planning. So the different areas are staying safe at school, staying safe at home, staying safe emotionally, and getting help in your community. Those are the 4 areas that we're going to look at. So staying safe at school. The safest way for me to get to and from school, this seems pretty straightforward to me. But it's always good to think about if, if there's a route that's safer than another. For example, my son, his route is fairly straightforward, but there is one road that we know is a little bit sketchy. So, we sort of advise him not to take that route. The other thing that he does, I don't know about your kids, but my kid is always on his phone. So when he crosses the street, he's actually texting. I don't know if any of you have this issue, but this first issue for me, the safest way, okay, I think they can figure that out. But it's more this unconscious, not being aware that worries me more about my teen. If I need to leave school in an emergency, I can get home safely by. So chime in at any point where you feel like one of these is something that you're not sure of or that you would like to discuss. My son tends to walk home. He doesn't need to take the subway, but I imagine Yuko, Kai sometimes needs to take the subway, right? Especially if there's bad weather.
Commuting to school, he mostly used the subway before coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if our kids are taking buses, so be mindful if there are bullies on the bus, that kind of thing. I think our kids can navigate this, quite honestly. Living in the city, I feel like these are not such big issues. I can make sure that a friend can walk with me between classes. I will ask which friends. So does this resonate for anyone? And do you know your kids' friends? Do you know that they would actually take that initiative and ask a friend if they needed that help? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that my son would ask. He's rather introverted. He's rather shy. I'm not sure that he would take that step. I will eat lunch and spend free periods in an area where there are school staff or faculty nearby. These are some areas on campus where I feel safe. So I feel like a lot of these are geared more towards people who are willing to seek help and who know that they're vulnerable, who can feel, I can ask for help if I need it. So if we look in the left corner on the column, it says, I could talk to the following people at school if I need to arrange my schedule in order to avoid my abusive partner, or if I need help staying safe at school. A school counselor, a coach, teachers, the principal assistant, the vice principal, school security, or someone else that they trust at the school. So I guess, does anyone have anything to say about any of this? I know perhaps a teacher would be the safest because they have relationships with some of their teachers, that they like those teachers. Or a coach if they're on, like Yuko on a swim team. Does Kai have a good relationship with his swim coach that he could confide in?
Yeah, he does. And I don't see a lot of people talking about relationship in the school. As a mother, I don't get to know that much. Well, I hope that the, recent trend to ward off like bullying and cyberbullying before it gets too bad, nipping the bud, that will extend to this kind of partner violence too. But I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point you bring up, Yuko, is to know what is the climate within your school as a parent. What are their policies and how accessible are these people?
Hi, thank you for doing this presentation. It's very important
Yes,
for all of us. And can I just rewind a little bit? And before school, you talked about the safety for the transportation. Can we just go to that point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So my concern is, my daughter takes the subway. She goes to same high school as Yuko, and so it will take about like a good 1 hour or a little more. And during that time, the kids don't have that kind of protective environment.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, like now after lockdown, I'm kind of feel good about it because she's at least at home and she's safe. On the other hand, once the school opens and if she has to go back on the subway, she has to deal with everyday like a homeless issues and bullying, but bullying from the strangers.
How old is she?
Oh, she's 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I can all say is if you see something, if you recognize something, just leave the train. You don't have to worry about getting to school late or anything. Just get at the train, and if there are anything dangerous, just go to the people at the station or anything, and just try to secure the safety.
Yes,
However,
absolutely.
some people could be very aggressive. She had one time with her friend who were very discriminate against Asian people, and that was before pandemic. However, as you know, the discrimination against Asian communities are raising more
Yes.
because of the fact the virus came from China. And, for a lot of people, Asian is the same category, even though like you're from different part of Asia, they don't know the existence of different culture inside the Asia. So so I was wondering whether you could suggest something in that kind of situation.
Well, I think what you suggested already is the best thing. I think having a conversation with your teenager, it's always very contextual, right?
Right.
Each of our children has a certain level of awareness, has a certain level of vulnerability or confidence. So I think there's not any one solution, but really it's those conversations, and then knowing that you have made the connection with your child, or if it's not you, that like my son doesn't want to hear it from me. So who else is there in your community that can have that conversation about travel? And I think your suggestion of leaving the train if it feels dangerous is absolutely the first order of the day, is to get away, and then perhaps go to the booth or go to a police officer, where you feel safe. And then if there's a way to get upstairs and get cell phone reception, or many stations have cell phone reception at this point, so then to call someone that your daughter feels safe with, to help her, even if it's just where she can voice her her emotions, that can help her reset, because I think it's not only the leaving the situation feeling safe, but it's also how do we deal with our emotions in those situations. And there again, it's very personal. Some boys especially maybe can bounce back, some boys faster, some boys not faster. And girls, girls I feel are very, very vulnerable.
My daughter has an incident. The guy, she always meets that, sees that same exact guy, tend to have, somebody who has tend to have a little psychiatrist problem or like mental problem. And he is standing very, very close on the edge of the platform on the subway every day. Really inch away, So then she was like, but one day she had her haircut, right? And then she didn't really pay attention. He was looking at her or anything. Then that day, he just looked at her. Then she said, "Oh, you had your haircut." That means that, that guy is constantly watch my daughter. It's like I was so scared, but my daughter has a very, very strong, like like a feeling for the she doesn't want to accuse anybody who's, you know what I mean? She wants to be everybody. She wants to be everybody's equal. She just doesn't want to accuse anybody who didn't do anything wrong to her. So but obviously she told me that means she got scared of it, scared of the guy, but she didn't take any action. And then that's why now I told her like, okay, leave 15 minutes earlier every day, then you don't have to see him. But that once in a while, she still sees him. I mean, that now it's like she doesn't go to school, so that's why she doesn't, thank God, she doesn't see him. But that's really scary thing, and she doesn't like anything. She because all he does is like looking at her, like standing very close in the edge of this platform, like very close to the train, and just sometimes like like showing her like he was watching her. So that's really
No, that's not appropriate.
Right.
yeah.
And
I
it's
think
scary.
That's really scary.
Yeah. As a parent, it's really
He is just someone that she happens to run into every time she takes the subway to school.
right, correct, yeah.
And he is an older gentleman or a young guy or a student?
Like a middle age.
A middle-aged guy, yeah. And when you have conversations with her, what is that like about this?
Yeah, that's like mom. It's like I have to tell you, I see this guy every day, right? Like because I leave the blah blah, like 7:15, the blah blah blah. So like then she is always in the platform. She told me the story, like he was always standing on the edge of platform, especially when the train is like approaching. And then he was always inch away from the like a truck.
What is that about? Why is he standing so close to the platform?
I don't know.
Easy sounding. Yeah.
I mean, there's two different things going on here. One, he's staring at her, violating her boundaries, right? That's one. And then the second one is it's almost like he's testing her. I'm going to go off the edge if you stop looking at me. It's like this very, very strange manipulation going on.
I don't know, but that's why she thought, my daughter thought, he has some sort of the mental issue, like because like everybody like looking at him like as if he's jumping into the truck. So it's kind of scary, yeah.
Oh, so maybe she should alert someone in the station about this guy.
Yeah.
If he's there all the time, I mean, God forbid he jumped in front of a train one day and your daughter witnessed that. I mean, that's what I would advise her to let someone else know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because
so then
it sounds like he might accidentally or intentionally fall off that platform. And God forbid your daughter was to witness that. Imagine the trauma.
I know trauma.
Guilt that she would feel if she witnessed that.
Yeah.
I mean, the other option is to just go to a different point in the platform. But I think if she was to take that step, it might help her feel more empowered that, wait a minute, there's something not quite right here. This man is staring at me.
Right.
There's a boundary that he's crossing.
Yeah.
And she has to, maybe become more aware of that through you or through just approaching someone else and saying, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right that he's staring at me and he's at the edge of the platform. What should I do? Like ask a policeman, ask the...
Right. So I should ask her, whenever she sees him, just go up, don't stay in the same platforms. Like, it's okay, be late or something. Just, just go out of the platform for a couple of minutes and then, or take other route because, Union Square has so many different choices. So like, she can take other route as well. Yeah.
It's almost strange to me that she would keep running into him. In New York City on the platform, there's so many people, and what are the chances?
I don't know, but she literally she saw him like like 10 times consecutive or something. Like that's why she just my daughter was so because my daughter
wait a minute. That sounds like he might be stalking her. He might be aware of her entering the station and then positioning himself so that she can see him, because it's a little bit too convenient for him to always be there.
Yeah,
which is even more alarming.
I mean, that's it's really then for the COVID-19 for this case, only for this case, and she doesn't really need to go to school.
I just wanted to point out that bullying is not only from somebody you know, but it happens from somebody you don't know, both ways. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is actually something that I wanted to address in this talk, because in the last talk was more geared to if you're dating someone, you know, it's someone that you know. So you're trying to prevent the violence, or if there are signs, you're trying to understand them and then circumvent any issues. But Mana, what you're bringing up is so important, because there are so many instances of violence with acquaintances, or people that we don't know, that our children don't know. And so I wanted to actually address this. There was a woman who I just became aware of, who was sexually assaulted when she was 14. And she had gone, you know, she probably didn't do a safety plan. I don't know what kind of conversations she had with her parents, but she went to a party and she got drunk and she was taken advantage of. And she was sexually assaulted, raped, and then she was brought back to her home, left outside her door. Her hair was frozen to the ground because it was winter. And it was just devastating. It was humiliating. And then on top of that, she was bullied, cyber bullied by people that she trusted. And it turns out that the attack was from friends of her brother, who he had trusted. So it's just amazing that there's so many things that we can unpack with strangers and with acquaintances, and so many things in the culture that we need to address. You know, the isolation that that comes with you know, just feeling bullied, not being able to talk to your friends anymore because they're accusing you, or not having being able to have a conversation with your parents or your school officials. So if she had a safety plan, I really wonder if she would have taken that risk of going to that party. Now, this is quite a few years ago. Unfortunately, just a few days ago, she committed suicide. She was 23, and she was actually an activist and an advocate for girls, for middle school and high school girls. Her name is Daisy Coleman, and it's very sad, but it turns out that she was being stalked even in her last days. So it's like this culture of acceptance, you know, like that, that I think we have to address, that boys and men have this sense of entitlement, and that they can do these things and get away with them, or on the flip side, that there isn't enough awareness, that our boys don't have enough awareness about what's happening. I was reading this article by Lori Halsey Anderson, who is an author. She's written a lot of historical fiction books. She wrote Chains, Forge. These are books about the American Revolution and slavery. And most of our children have read these. They're like homeschool classics. But she also wrote a book called Speak, about her own sexual abuse situation. And she goes around the country now and gives talks to high school and middle school kids. And she was reporting that she has many conversations with boys, and in 20 years, she finds that there's still a lot of there's a lack of awareness with boys about, you know, what does it mean to take advantage of a woman?
Right.
And
yeah, it's like almost only 1 minute, so I have to hurry you up. But yeah, but yeah, sorry. But yeah, DV, you know, domestic violence always come back to stop before it starts. You know, it happens by educating boys or men, and there are more programs mandated if they commit some rape or something, you know, DV, and there's a hope there because they are coming around to do more program. But
I wanted to
really
mention,
agree. Yeah.
I want to mention one since we don't have much time. It's called Our Whole Lives, OWL, and it's a human sexuality course. You can look for it online, and it's usually provided by a church. It's not religious, but they host it, and it's free, and it starts from a very young age, and it's a year-long program. And you can keep continuing it each year, but my son did it, and it's really helpful to learn about all of these things.
All right.
So I'm sorry it was cut short. But, Anna, thank you for your question.
All right. Thank you, Taryn.
Maybe you can do it again.
Thank you,
Right.
Taryn.
Yeah. Part 3.
Thank you, Taryn.